Hello everyone and welcome to another Service Now video by me, Jan Lundqvist, or Gora if you can say. And this time we're going to show you how to make attachments mandatory before you can submit a catalog item. I've seen a lot of this in the community lately where people are asking for the functionality to say that for this catalog item the user must attach one or two attachments before being able to submit. And I haven't been doing so much YouTube lately, but it's hard to find the time. But now I'm trying to get this one going at least. So for the first way, I would like to say that I would like to create this functionality so it's as easy as possible for the catalog admins to maintain it themselves, so the admins or the developer doesn't have to go in and do it all the time. So to be able to do that, I would like to create a field on the catalog items called minimum amount of attachments, which is pretty much not that long. And then the catalog owner can set the numbers themselves, and then it would dynamically change on the portal when the user is doing it. And I'll also show you some kind of tricks that or problems you can get into if you don't create this field the right way. So if you go into the maintain catalog, or maintain item, of course, normally I usually just go into the form, choose the form layout, and add a field. So let's just check one here, for example, Adobe Acrobat. And let's add a field. And since I'm just going to test now, I'll just call it test number. Make it an integer. Oh. We'll add it. Let's put it over there. Now, since we want this field to happen on all the items, and it actually doesn't do that at the moment, because if I right-click on it and choose show, you will notice that it ended up in a table called PC Software Cat items. So not all the items are in the same SE Cat item table, but there are extended tables from that one. And this one, for example, is. So ending up like if I set number 2 there, and since we would like to have the functionality later for all the items, I'm going to show you. So for example, let me get the sysid. So just let me see, so I got the correct item. You can see here, that's correct. And let's see here, what was it called? Online test, online number. You can guess what's going to happen now, I guess. I get undefined. Since that field doesn't exist in this table on the record, the field itself exists in the PC Software Cat. So I'll take that one, change that. Suddenly I get the number. And for some people, it might be easier if I compare this to the task table and incident. We all know that we have a table called incident. I think most of you know that there is also a field in the incident table called incident state, which only exists in incident. So if I take this incident instead, the value, And this is the same as the PC software table you saw before. And if I go into task, which will pretty much be the same as the SC cat item, you will get undefined. So since I would like to have all the different items, this field, I need to go in another way to add it to the task itself. And one thing you can look as well, if you go into the MineTime items, when you see the URL down here, when I hover over that one, you can see it's calling for the PC software cat item. If I go to a record producer, you can see it's called for the SC cats. That's where they're linked. You can see that some items actually are in the SC cat item. But suddenly, you got the PC hardware, you got the PC software, etc. So what we will do is that we will go into the table and we will add a field called minimum amount attach. Let's call it something like that. My imagination isn't so good. And we would like to have it as an integer as well. Let's save it. Let me find it. There we go. That's the one. And if I go into the catalog item, we'll go into the form layout. We will remove my old one, and we'll have something called minimum amount attachment. You can see I've done a lot of different trying before, so let's put this at roles. Minimum amount. And that's the one we created at the moment. So, and here you can see as well that it belongs to the cat table instead. So let's remember the Adobe Acrobat. Let's set minimum amount of attachment is 2. And of course we can change the label on this one instead to have a little bit better looking. Let's see. Minimal Here we go. 2. So back to the portal then. This pretty much means that if a user clicks there and then hits the Adobe Acrobat, they're not supposed to press submit unless they have attached 2 files. And at the moment they can just press submit. So what we need to do is we need to edit the widgets handling this one. And I don't know if everyone knows it, but if you press Control and right click, you will get a menu. You can see the widget name and you get some options, etc. And one thing you can do is you can edit the widget in editor directly, which is kind of nice to have. So since this is an out-of-box widget, we can't modify this one, so we need to clone it. So let's clone it, and we'll call it like test as a catalog item. So if you're searching, we will see items. And now you can see we got it in edit mode. Now, before we will start editing, we would like to replace the out-of-the-box widget on the page with this widget. So let's go to the configuration. You can see at the URL that the page is called ESA cat item. So let's hit the designer. There we go. And some widgets are acting kind of weird in the designer. As you can see, we know that here is a widget, but we can't see one. Even if we click, we can't click on it, and we can't get the properties. We only get the column properties, etc. But if we go to the page editor and look at the same page, we can see that it exists, which is kind of crappy in my mind, but I'll hope to fix it in some later release. But what I usually do to make sure that it's gone, I press on the container and delete the whole container. You can, of course, go into the page editor and delete it there as well. But then I just add a new container, maximum, and we'll add the test item. And we go back to the page, we reload it. Don't mind the breadcrumb as well. It's me doing some other testing how to manipulate those ones. If I control and right click, I can see it's using my widget now. Great. Another way to edit the widget as well is that you can click on the pen here and you will get the widget editor in another display as well. So, first thing to figure out is how can I know how many attachments there are? And I read it actually somewhere on the community, which gave me a little bit of heads up that if you look at the code around here, you can see that it does something with something called scope attachments. And hopefully that is something that we can use. So if we scroll down, and if you look, let's remove the server part, we won't be using that one. And we'll go into the bottom. You can see that when you click on submit, it triggers something called trigger on submit, and we'll scroll down. And if keyform exists, it will submit. So let's give it a shot and see what this really is. So let's put the log. Let's, what's it? This is attachment. Save that one. We have to reload. Clear it and we'll submit. Okay, I have no attachment and it gets no values. Okay, let's redo. And let's attach something. Liquor pipe and something at the side of the box. So we got two attachments now. Clear the log and submit. And we see it's got an object, semicolon object. So it seems to be an array at least. Let's see if just verify that one. What we can do then is, let's find the widget. Where are we? That's the one. And what we can do is, we can do this, like that one. built in JavaScript to string apply, I think it was like that. And let me try it, and we go back to where is it? Here. Reload. Add the deliver pipe again. And you can see that it's an object, it's an array. So that's correct, which pretty means that we can count the length of it. If you use the type of, you will only get an object, because in JavaScript, objects, arrays, and data, etc. are all objects in the type of, so that didn't really help. But this little, where is it? Here. This one is pretty good to make sure what it is. And you can go to, let me see if I can copy into the link. You can read more about it, which is pretty much on how to use it. So, where are they? Well, so what we now want to do is we want to check if the length of the array is at least the same as the field we created. So let's remove the log. Let's add something here. We will say that scope of attachments more or equal to, then we have scope data. This is where all the information is stored, and we call the field. Where did it have? Let's take this one. That one. So that's good enough to submit. Else, we would like to add some kind of message so it didn't get submitted. Let's see. FCC, we have as usual, but error message. You need to attach at least, and let's add that one. Let's take number. File equals message. So that should pretty much be it. And about this scope data SCCat, if you go to the server script, you will see that, let me see, here is the one where it's publishing using a SP get category item. So we save it. We go back to the portal, we reload, and hopefully I shouldn't be able to submit it unless I have 2 attachments. Ooh, look at it undefined. that pretty much means that this one doesn't get my field populated, so we have to do it yourself. So what I need to do in the end here, let me see. It's fun when you into that one and we have the sys ID here, so let's reuse that one. So, and let's populate it, data sc cat item dot, and we want to have the same field name. This variable should be like this. If this field has something, it should be, it should be the value in that field, of course. Otherwise, we want to have 0. Do like this. So if this is true, it will take that value and put into that data. If that's not true, it will set 0, which means that if the catalog owner or the item owner hasn't set any value, it will set 0. So the user can submit it without any attachments. So let's try it. Save. And we go back. We reload the page and we'll try to submit. You need to attach at least 2 files. We need to have a space. What seems to be working. Let's attach the liquor pipe. Try to submit. That's strange. That was a real strange. Let me try that again. How does the client script look like? Ah, look. I forgot this one. There we go. So let's reload. Oh wait, let's just fix the message as well with the space. There we go. Reload again. I don't think we need that one anymore. And we'll submit. We'll get the error message. We'll add the liquor pipe. Try to submit. No. And we'll add the box. And we'll submit. And it's working. Now let's go back and take another. Let's take this one, which doesn't have any numbers, and just press submit. And it's working. So the only things that I did actually was I had to fetch my new variable field and put it into a variable. On the client side, I actually only did this line to check if the amount is correct, or I added this error message. That's about it, besides adding the field to the form as well. And of course, you can make a lot of different things like checking for the field type, if or the attachment type, it's a PDF or something. Make a little bit bigger check before allowing to submit. So that's about it, and I hope that will help someone at least to make this functionality work in your portal. Okay, bye.